Lofties needed such a huge place. But that wasn't my concern. What was my concern was that they both hated to cook. Adele had said they needed someone to take charge of the mammoth kitchen, with its state-of-the-art gadgets and appliances. Lucky for me, their kitchen had passed the eagle eye of the county health inspector. So I had jumped at the chance to become a temporary live-in cook in exchange for a haven. During the summer, this was also the center for my business, Goldilocks Catering, where everything is just right. Also lucky for me, the income from the job and the business was enough to send Arch to the summer session at Elk Park Prep, where I was catering this morning. Best of all, the Farquhars' house had more alarms than the Denver Mint. I opened my eyes and studied the sloped ceiling of my new bedroom. The gray light of 5 a.m. seeped through Belgian lace curtains and licked the edges of the room. There was no movement on the floor below. Adele and the General were still asleep. Outside, a fierce June wind pummeled the house. Branches slapped against the gutters of the other guest room on the 3rd floor, but there was no noise from Arch. When he was little, he would awaken if the doorbell rang. Now he could snore through wind, through hail, through the unfamiliar creaks of this museum-like house. Arch hadn't wanted to move. I'd promised it was just for 2 months, while new doors, windows, and a security system were installed in our old house. Insofar as possible, I had tried to put Dr. John Richard Corman, whose initials and behavior had led his other ex-wife and me to dub him the jerk, out of my mind as well as out of my presence. Unfortunately, I didn't know if he would be making an appearance at Elk Park Prep's annual brunch. My second problem with this highly publicized meal, a man I was seeing was going to be there. The renewal of my relationship with Philip Miller, a local shrink, resembled those silver mines they're always reopening in Colorado. The vein may still be strong, and the price of silver has just gone up. Philip's large blue eyes, and so happy to see me smile, had heated up my social life, no question about it. That's why they called it Old Flame, right? Anyway, I wanted to see Philip, but not at the expense of a confrontation with the jerk. The wind slammed against the house, causing it to crack and moan. A stray branch scuttled across the roof. In late spring, the Rocky Mountains frequently spin off a chilly whip of air to announce a cold front. Wind screamed through the window jambs. Then it died, and the undaunted mating call of a robin pierced the air. I did a few stretching exercises before checking the thermometer on the windowsill. 34 degrees, with ominous clouds to boot. Nice June weather. I slid out onto the floor and eased my body through the yoga positions of Cobra, Morning Star, Locust. My spiritual life is an amalgam of yoga, transcendental meditation, and Episcopalianism. The only ones who would be bothered by this, I thought, were the Episcopalians. And then I began to think about Philip Miller. One thing I had learned as a 31-year-old single mother, no matter how your body aged, your feelings did not. At any time of life, you could be subject to a high school vintage infatuation. Another late-teen aspect to love in the 30s. You could feel as if you loved 2 people at the same time. For 7 months, I'd been seeing Tom Schulz. He was a policeman who'd helped me through a rough time when my fledgling business was threatened with 2 attempted poisonings. He had the build and appetite of a mountain man. Tom Schulz doted on Arch and me, and he made me feel safe. But in the last few weeks, perhaps because I was trying to block out the specter of the omnipresent jerk, Philip Miller had once again stolen into my psyche and my daydreams. Eons ago, Philip and I had dated at the University of Colorado. Dated? Listen to me. In any event, Philip was good-looking, well-off, and intelligent. He looked and dressed like a golf pro. When I talked, he listened with great intentness. Since early May, we'd been doing crazy things like toting backpacks bulging with exotic foods on long...